Hey everybody, Eric here. I just got back a little bit ago from Cinema Wasteland, a horror movie convention in Strongsville, Ohio. It's twice a year, and this was the second one of the year, possibly the first one since COVID. I don't remember if they did it back in April. But anyway, excuse me, I haven't been there in a couple of years because of COVID and all that. So I decided to go this year. I was very excited for a certain reason that we'll get to in just a moment. But I thought I'd share all the stuff that I picked up, all the swag that I got at Cinema Wasteland. And so I'm saving money, worked 60 hours last week, the week before, whenever. So I would have money to spend. And let's just take a look at what I got. First up is a t-shirt. Hopefully you can see that. This is from, there's an artist. Let me see if his name is on here. I don't know. It's a guy, he does a lot of pen and ink work, if that's what you call it. Does a lot of Lovecraftian type stuff. I have a couple of pictures, I believe, from him from in the past, and I have another T-shirt that doesn't fit anymore, unfortunately, that has a xenomorph facing off against Marvin the Martian, which is really cute. But I liked his Mothman picture, so I thought I'd grab that T-shirt. Only item of clothing. Well, technically that's not true. I got a Halloween 3 T-shirt for my mother. It's the only item of clothing I picked up for myself. Now, big stack of books. This is one of the reasons, possibly the biggest reason, I was excited to go to this particular show, because Grindhouse Press announced they were going to have a table there. So, excuse me, I got to go and meet C.V. Hunt, who was wonderful, and re-meet Anderson Prunty. I met him before at Context, and I walked up and he's like, Eric, right? We met before at Context, which is crazy to me. So I grabbed a bunch of books from Grindhouse, and I got Dreaditation by Anderson Prunty, which sounds really cool. I haven't read any of these, so I can't say too much about them. Let's see. Let's do it this way. All right, I'm going to mix some things around. Okay. Then we have, and of course I got these signed by Mr. Prunty and Ms. Hunt. Excuse me. Bodies Wrapped in Plastic by Anderson Prunty, and Other Tales of Interest. So it has the novella, Bodies Wrapped in Plastic, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other stories in here. Love the cover of this one, The Sorrow King, Anderson Prunty. Great cover. It's craziness. And then the reason I rearranged stuff, those were the Anderson Prunties. And then Meat Photo by C.V. Hunt and Anderson Prunty. And not really sure what this is about, but I was talking to them about this. Excuse me, and what they would do is say Anderson is writing. I don't know who started, but let's say Anderson was writing, and he set a timer for an hour. And as soon as that timer went off, he stopped. Said it didn't matter if it was the middle of a chapter, middle of a paragraph, middle of a sentence. He would just stop and send it to C.V. Hunt. And then C.V. Hunt would set a timer for an hour and write. And as soon as that timer went off, she would stop, send it back. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they came up with. Pardon me. Then we have Murder House by C.V. Hunt. Kind of a cool cover. This is at Lattle. So I don't know exactly what their association is with Grindhouse, or if that's C.V. Hunt's thing, but they had it for sale there. Um, Cock Block by C.V. Hunt. This is an apocalyptic event. Not sure. Men attacking women and women fighting back. I think this is a cool cover. Home is Where the Horror Is by C.V. Hunt. And yeah, they just all. I just read Halloween Fiend by C.V. Hunt, and it was fantastic. So I have no problem just grabbing a bunch of her other stuff. And again, both wonderful people. They're really nice. Had a nice chat with them about all sorts of different stuff. And then some sort of randomish. I could have spent tons more money there at their table, although I would say I had or have already probably half, at least half of what they had. Close to half, because a bunch of Brian Smith stuff. I had all the Brian Smith stuff. There was some random stuff. Patrick Lacey and Samantha Kolesnik. Not sure how you pronounce her last name. So there was already a bunch of stuff that I already had. Some CV Hunt. But a bunch of stuff I don't have. And I bought a book that it turns out I already have. I wasn't sure. Didn't want to take the chance. It was the only copy they had there on the table. So I grabbed it, knowing that I can always give it to my nephew if I already have it, which I do. And so he's going to get a copy of it. But 4 more books that I picked up from them. As Seen on TV by John Wayne Caminale, I believe is how you say his name. I like this very bright cover, and it sounds like a fun book, a serial killer obsessed with as seen on TV products and some stuff that goes on, according to the back of the book. Then we have Mage of the Hellmouth by John Wayne Caminale, another fun cover. This is about a guy who gets transferred in his job, and things maybe aren't what they seem, and seem to be connected to a game he used to play called Mage of the Hellmouth. So I hear good things about John Wayne Caminale. I don't believe I've read any of his stuff. And all of these, the ones that I didn't get signed, come with signed book plates. So I'm going to have to put those in. Let's make a separate pile for those. Then we have, this is a book I had. I don't think I have it anymore. Well, I do now, again, since I just got it. A couple great authors, a great person whom I've interviewed. This is The Perfectly Fine House by Stephen Kozanowski and Weil E. Young. And this is about, basically it's a world, an alternate reality, they say, where everything is haunted. Ghosts are commonplace, and this couple moves into a house where there are no ghosts, and that's the freaky part in this world. So, and they're I think it's on Kickstarter now. They're doing an anthology called The Perfectly Fine Neighborhood. They're gonna have a bunch of different authors writing stories, sort of in this world. So that's pretty cool. And then finally, this is a book that I read, I reviewed, but this is a new edition from Grindhouse with a new cover and some stuff in the back. Sketches in the back. This is Kill Hill Carnage by Tim Meyer, with a cover by Justin T. Coons. I love his work. He does all the splatter westerns from Death's Head Press. So I just figured I would pick up this new copy with this new cover. And it has like production sketches in the back. So pretty cool, I think. So that's all but one book. Those are all from Grindhouse or Atlatl, however you say it. Really, really great chatting with C.V. Hunt and Anderson Prunty. Just really nice people. Now, a bunch of movies. Tons and tons of movies. So here's some. I'm going to leave something over there. First off, there was a table or a booth, whatever, from Scream Team Releasing. They are the people that put out Mike Lombardo's I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday, which I had pre-ordered when that was coming out. I got like the special thing. It came with a stocking and a poster and some other stuff. So one of their big ones is The Barn. And this is, there it is without the slipcover. I like the slipcover. It looks like a videotape being pulled out. Throwback slasher film. I've heard mostly fantastic things about this. I've heard a couple of dissenting opinions, but mostly really good things. Lots of special features, which I always like. And there's a sequel coming out. And then from Scream Team Releasing, something that was just recently talked about a little bit on one of the podcasts I listened to. I believe it was on Make Your Own Damn Podcast. Dude Bro Party Massacre 3. Now, there is no Dude Bro Party Massacre 1 or 2, but this film exists in such a way that they're like within the film. There were 2 parts already, so it's made as if it's a sequel to 2 existing movies that don't actually exist. And I don't see. Oh, there are special features on this one as well. I hear this is really funny. So again, had a pretty nice chat with the folks from Scream Team Releasing. Let's set those over there. And then I just mentioned Make Your Own Damn Podcast. I've been binging it at work. This is its authors, Lucas Mangum and Jeff Burke. Both great people, both authors that I like. And so they have this, they love Troma movies. Troma being the company that made Toxic Avenger, amongst many, many other things. And they also release movies, distribute movies that weren't made by them, but small independent films. And so I've been listening to Make Your Own Damn Podcast, where they talk about all these Troma movies. And I asked Lucas and Jeff for a list of 10 non-Toxic Avengers movies that their top 10 that I should look for when I was at Cinema Wasteland. I got 5. And it was a case of buy 4, get the 5th one free. And they actually gave me like 1.5 free. But this is what I picked up. Let's start with the DVDs, because not everything was on Blu-ray. So this is The First Turn On. This one is made by Lloyd Kaufman. It is the last of what they call the cutie something. They're sex comedies. It has Vincent D'Onofrio in it, featuring Academy Award nominee Vincent D'Onofrio. He is in this movie. A lot of people came from Troma. James Gunn, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and The Suicide Squad, Slither, Super. He wrote Tromeo and Juliet, and he ghost wrote or co-wrote or whatever Lloyd Kaufman's book, Everything I Need to Know I Learned from Making the Toxic Avenger. Bunch of other people have worked for Troma, gone on to bigger and better things. Bigger things. How's that? I hate to say better. But anyway, Nudie Cuties. I think that's what they're called. This is actually the last of the Nudie Cuties that Lloyd Kaufman made. But it's supposed to be pretty good. So I picked that up. And then the other DVD, the Tromasterpiece Collection, 20th Anniversary Edition. This is Redneck Zombies. It's got some special features, which I always like. Very low budget and crazy, and apparently progressive. There is a trans character, and one would expect in a movie like Redneck Zombies that the trans character would be used for cheap jokes, and yet apparently, because I haven't seen it yet, the brothers of the trans character are confused, but the father, and these are all just, backwoods rednecks, but the father's like, that's how they identify. It's simple. Just, that's who they are. So it should be interesting. All right, now I've got 3 Blu-rays. This is Class of Nukem High 2. I don't have the first one. I listened to, they sort of marathoned. There's 5 Nukem High movies, and they did 5 episodes in a row of Make Your Own Damn Podcast about these. And so I don't think you need to see the first one. They did have a box set of DVDs with the first 3 movies. I hear the third one's really bad. And then I think they had all 5 on Blu-ray, but I couldn't afford everything. So I went with 2, since that was the one that Lucas Mangum suggested. And I'll pick up the rest eventually. But there is a giant mutated squirrel. Supposed to be just really good, really funny. Then we have a movie. I found it interesting that at the end of each episode, after they're finished talking about the movie, they'll ask each other if they recommend it. And, some movies, they're like, yeah, if you like low-budget stuff, I recommend this. If you like Lloyd Kaufman stuff, I recommend this. Or sometimes it's, I recommend it to this type of person. I don't recommend it to this type of person. This movie, I think they both said they could not recommend it to anybody. They loved it, but they don't know anybody they would recommend it to, and yet Lucas put it on the list of things he was recommending I should pick up. This is supposed to be insane. This is Blood-Sucking Freaks, an infamous movie, I think, and this has a bunch of never before seen uncut version interviews, all sorts of crazy stuff in here. So this one I think is going to be wild. And then this one is, so actually, man, I think most of these are not actually made by Lloyd Kaufman. I think they're distributed. Some are made by Troma, because I think the Class of Nukem High stuff is made by Troma. Some is made by other people and distributed by Troma. This one, I remember when this was coming out. It's written and directed by Astron 6. And that was a collective of people. They broke up after this movie, I believe, but they've gone on to make some very well-known, at least in horror community, movies, popular movies. One of them, or maybe more than one, made Psycho Gorman, which I loved. I know a lot of people that love it. I know some people that don't like it. I loved Psycho Gorman. I thought it was fantastic. They made a movie called, I think, The Void was one of theirs, or post Astron 6. But anyway, the movie I'm talking about is Father's Day. No relation to Mother's Day, which was a movie distributed by Troma. They didn't have a copy. That was on the list. I wanted to pick it up. They didn't have one. Father's Day, this movie is supposed to be insane. And listening to the episode where they talk about it, it sounds crazy. Offensive, funny, just wild stuff. So those are the 5 movies I picked up from the Troma table. I look forward to these. I did have a list of 10, and it was a tough call. Death by Temptation. I'll eventually pick up most of them. Death by Temptation, I definitely want to get. The rest of the Nukem High. Mother's Day, as I said. Plus, Poultrygeist was on the list. I've seen Poultrygeist. Fantastic movie. But that's, since I've seen it already, I'll pick it up eventually. And they have all the Toxie movies and all these other things. But that was that. Man, I could have spent easily twice as much money as I did. The Severin table, I think it was, had so much stuff I could have picked up, and I ended up not getting anything. Um, but man, they had some beautiful movies there. All right, two more things. And these are a couple of things from Happy Cloud Pictures, or Happy Cloud Publishing, depending. The first one, this is a movie I've been waiting years and years and years for. I remember seeing a trailer for it. I got a poster. I still have the poster signed by two people we'll get to. Got that years ago at Cinema Wasteland. And it seemed the last few times I was there, they didn't have it. It wasn't ready yet. I was going to say it was sold out by the second day, but I don't think they even had it yet. But they finally had it. They had some copies. I was finally able to get this movie from Happy Cloud Pictures. This is called Razor Days. It's a revenge flick. It stars Amy Lynn Best, Debbie Rochon, and Betty Cassett? Not sure. Written and directed by Mike Watt. And Mike Watt and Amy Lynn Best are Happy Cloud. They're wonderful people. They're very friendly. I have a bunch of their movies. It's low budget, independent filmmaking. They have a movie called Resurrection Games. And of course, now, off the top of my head, I can't think of the titles of any of the other ones. But they're fun. They're super low budget. Resurrection Games especially. Really, really low budget. But they have a vampire one. They have a meta slasher one where there's a movie set and there's a slasher on the movie set, but they're making a slasher movie and there are people playing themselves, but there's also people playing characters. I can't remember the name of that. That's really good. And then I think it's Demon Divas of the something lanes. It takes place at a bowling alley and there's succubi or something. Just fun stuff. And this is very, very dark. They warned me. It's not like their other stuff. Very, very dark. But I'm still very excited to have finally gotten this. I can finally see it. And then Mike Watt is also a writer, a journalist. And so I picked up, there's a whole series of these books. I picked up the one that's not numbered. So the first one, but there's sort of a prequel one. But this is called Movie Outlaw by Mike Watt, and it says from filmmaker and journalist Mike Watt comes a new collection of essays focusing on more than 70 underseen films. So just a bunch of obscure movies that hardcore fans may have heard of. I'm sure there's a lot in here that I'm not aware of. Excuse me. Although I just saw one that I do know, Burke and Hare. He talks about a movie that apparently, where is it? Don's Plum, the film that Leonardo DiCaprio sued to hide from the public. Johnny Depp's directorial debut, The Brave. So a bunch of different stuff. I like reading about obscure movies. I like supporting people like Mike Watt and Amy Lynn Best. So I picked this up. And that, my friends, would be the final thing I have to show you from Cinema Wasteland. As I said, there was so much more I could have picked. I wanted to pick up. There was a guy that had a game. This one, not sure, but he had a game based on serial killers. He said it was like a cross between Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, but it was a card game, but you can sort of role play, and you have a team of 5, and these are real life serial killers, and he's got real life pictures. You have 5 serial killers on your team, and you're flipping cards, and you're trying to kidnap and murder victims. And there are weapons cards, and there are cards you can use to mess with the other team, and you might get caught by the police. And so you play believe he said the first person to 10 kills wins, but if one of your killers is caught, you lose all the kills that they've racked up. So you could be on the verge of winning and end up, the game keeps going. And then he has sort of a speed version of that for 1 to 4 players. The game mechanics sound really interesting, but I don't know about, does it glorify? Because you're playing the killers, and they're real killers. I don't know if it's glorifying things. I guess that's a matter of opinion. But that kind of looked interesting. There were some other movie distributors and folks that just had some wonderful editions of. There was a beautiful edition of Six String Samurai. I think Severin had that. Fade to Black, with a bunch of special features, tons and tons of movies that I would have loved to have picked up. And all sorts of, there's people with toys and artwork and just all sorts of stuff. And then there's all the celebrities that were there. They had people from Motel Hell were there. Vernon Wells, who's the bad guy in Commando, and he's in The Road Warrior. A little part in Weird Science, bunch of stuff. I met him there before. The gentleman who plays Andy Barclay in the Child's Play / Chucky movies was supposed to be there. Unfortunately, his flight was canceled because of the hurricane. And I have a box set of all 7 Child's Play Chucky movies that I was going to have him sign. Excuse me. I'm very tired. I'm going to take a nap when I'm done recording this. But he couldn't make it, so I didn't get that signed. And they show movies, they have Q&As and all sorts of cool stuff. It's a really fun little festival. It's just 2 weekends a year in Strongsville, Ohio. And there you go. That's all this. I scrimped and saved, and so that I could pick up a bunch of stuff. And there you have it, a bunch of books. And it's normally not a book place. I was very, very excited the Grindhouse was going to be there. I did meet Jack Ketchum there. He was there once. But typically it's movies and stuff. All right, there you go. No real question for this video, just the generic question of what caught your eye. Any of these books look interesting to you? Any of these movies look interesting to you? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. That's all I have for you. This is a random Sunday video. I didn't even say that at the very beginning. Either way, until next time, read more books.